Alright everybody, start of part 6 on Shin Ultraman. I got him on a temporary base for now. Got him hooked up to a 9-volt battery so everybody can get another look at him. To his left is the base that I'm going to be starting to work on. I have a foam cutter, and I did this probably beginning of the summer. I measured my calipers. I measured the thickness of the base, because with the base just sitting on the wood base that I have for it, it's just not going to be level. It's not going to it's just not going to be level. So I came up with this idea to cut foam so I can level it like so. Have it open, notched it out here for this power switch. You can see right there. And I'll be working on the base today. Maybe I'll set the camera up and show that. I'm gonna probably start out with this tacky glue on this foam. It should work on that wood base. If not, I have some liquid nail, but I think it should work fine. That tacky glue should put it on the bottom here, and it should work on the wood. Hopefully the base is not going to take me as long. I'm not going to glue this down yet. I'm going to keep this, once the foam's in place, I'll take this out, and you can see I got that taped off there. Once it's all together and I have my little diorama getting in shape, I'll show that part. But maybe I'll hook up the camera for that. But I got Shin over here. I'll let everybody get another look at him. He did turn out pretty decent, and his eyes glow, and that looks pretty cool. But I need to focus now and getting him done by working on the base. So that's what I got on my bench today. I'm going to start working on the base for Shin Ultraman. I'm going to go ahead and pause. Maybe I'll set the camera up and film segments of working on this base. So again, I'll pause for now. I'll talk with everybody later. Get another look at Shin. Alright everybody, another update on Shin Ultraman. This is Sunday, August 31st, last day in August. Hard to believe tomorrow's the 1st of September. There's Shin again. Got him on this temporary base, just out of that thick foam. And I think when I do some updates, I'll just have them next to the base. I worked on the base yesterday. I glued these two pieces down with this clear tacky glue, and it worked fine. It bound it to the wood, no problem. I have this still masked off where the let me grab it, where the base goes in the center, so it's going to be kind of like a puzzle. I'll just be able to put that in there. Now I don't know if that tacky glue is going to work bonding this to the wood, but I got that liquid nail that I'll probably use on that to make sure it's going to bond. And then with the rocks that I'm going to have on top here, I don't want to overkill with that, but I'll figure it out. I got a good size rock that goes right here. Like I said, little house here or hut, whatever, I got a hole drilled already for a 3mm. It'll flicker LED for that. I think that'll look cool. And then when he's on the base, almost standing about, I think it's a little bit more to the left, with his eyes lit up, that's gonna look pretty cool. My next step on the base is to apply the stones and figure out what the best little diorama I can come up with the stones on mountain. They're gonna look like mountains is the best way to say it. Like they're gonna be a big one right here and a few little ones around or all around it. I'll figure it out. I don't want to do no overkill with it, but I got other materials I can use for landscaping and stuff like that. And then I got some trees for here. I may want to use a toothpick and run a power line to the house here and run wire to it so it can look like it's, you know, has a little power left, but that's why the lights are blinking off. I think it's gonna look cool. But that's what I got going on my bench today. I'm gonna do a little bit more work on this either today or tomorrow. I'm off Monday the 1st, which is Labor Day, and come back down to my shop and do some more work. But another look at Shin. He does, every time I see him hooked up to the power now, it's just a 9-volt battery that I have him hooked up to. And he looks pretty cool. Shut the overhead light off. And there, he looks a little bit better. But that's what's gonna make it look cool on the base with his eyes and house back here blinking or flickering. But I'm starting to ramble off. That's what I got going on today. Everybody have a good holiday out there. I'll pause for now, continue working on the base, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on Shin Ultraman's base that I've been working on. I kind of worked on it on and off over the holiday weekend. This is Tuesday, September 2nd already. I just have this part, the main base, just once I get done with everything else, I'll be able to glue that in place. I did get some liquid nail. I read on the label on the back, it's not recommended for plastic. So, I don't know if I'm going to use that at all. I have been using this clear gel tacky glue. I glued this rock here on it last night on this foam, and it seems to be working fine. I have this one to glue down, and the rest of them I'll probably film all that so everybody can see like what I'm doing step by step with this base. These rocks are gonna look pretty cool. I didn't want to do too much overkill. I've got other stuff I can use on the base as well. to just give it a landscape is the word I was trying to spit out. But right now I'm focusing on getting the rocks glued down. So that's what I got going on my base today. I'll probably pause the camera here and film that part. I did with gluing this foam onto the wood with that tacky glue, and it worked fine. It held on the wood. It says it's an all-purpose adhesive. Says it right there. And so far it's doing the job. So let me go ahead and pause and get this set up and glue all this down. And probably by tomorrow I can add some more materials to give it that landscape look. I'm not going to go overboard with it. It's going to look pretty cool for what I'm going to do to the base for Shin here. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, set everything up, and I'll be right back. Alright everybody, back on the base. I glued the stones in place using this tacky glue. And then also I'm going to add to the base, because I bought this called Buff Medium. Kind of looks almost like gravel. Not sure. For woodland scenes. And then the other stuff I have here is grass. I'm not going to flock anything. I'm just going to probably use a plastic spoon. I'll use that tacky glue. I'll just apply the glue, spread it with an old brush maybe, and then sprinkle that stuff on. I think with that grass and those stones or gravel, whatever that kind of stuff looks like, I know it just says buff medium, so don't get me lying, but I think with those two on the base with the rocks and add some of that to the rocks on all of them, it's going to look pretty good. Like I said, I'm not going to go all out and go crazy, but they add color and add more than what you get with Shin, with the little base that he comes on. I just beefing it up a little bit. I think it's going to look pretty good. I also have some colors I'm going to use. It's all Tamiya. I think it's red brown XF64. I'm going to use yellow brown XF92. Good earth tone color. I've got probably I'm going to go with light gray. I might use that over the rocks. Then I have flat brown XF10, and then I have flat earth XF52. So that's the colors I'm going to start with and use on the base. But I just applied the tacky glue to the rocks. I'm gonna have to let that dry and cure overnight before I can go to the next step, which will be adding this grass and this buff medium to the base. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, continue on this tomorrow, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, back on Shin Ultraman's base. I already applied the grass and medium buff for now. Looks pretty good. I filmed this part. I mean, I'm no landscaper, but it's a big improvement from just the foam and the rocks. I'll let this dry overnight, and then I can get down here tomorrow and clean it up. Maybe add a little bit more in some spots. Back here where the power switch is, I didn't do anything back here yet. I'll just have to tape this off so I don't get no glue or anything on it if I want to do back here, which I probably will, but I didn't do that today. But the rest of it don't look too bad. Like I said, I'm no landscaper, but just add some more detail. It's not going to be nothing fancy. Let me go ahead. Well, I'll hold off. I was going to put the base that comes with Shin down inside here, but I got some glue and stuff on it. As you can see here, I'll have to clean that up before I put that down in place. But it's looking pretty good. It's taking shape. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, continue working on the base, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, this is Saturday, September 5th. Back down in my hobby room. All the work that I've done so far on Shin's base. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second and get the centerpiece that Shin stands on. I'll be right back. Alright, I put this in place. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. The materials and everything I used on the base, I used the clear tacky glue, and then I used the flock here, the grass. I didn't flock it. And then I also used the medium buff, and that's what I came up with. I'm thinking of either primering up these rocks, or I'm just going to go over it with the Tamiya paints that I'm going to use. I don't think it's going to matter too much. This has already been primered, and then I just got the house or hut right here just sitting here. It's just nothing's glued yet because I got to put a LED in there so the house or hut or whatever is going to flicker. I think that's going to look pretty cool. And like I said, the rocks, I can either really go that far and just primering up, which is just a gray, and then go over it with the paints. But the paints I'm going to use are all Tamiya. I'm going to use yellow brown. It's XF92. I'm going to go ahead and use the light gray, which could be for the rocks, XF66. And then I'm going to use flat earth, good color, XF52. That'll be a good color to use. And then I have flat brown, XF10. And then also I have red brown, XF64. Those are the colors I'll be starting with or working with on the base. I figured I'd share this with everybody. I'll probably film the part when I get to airbrushing the stones, but that's what I got going on my bit. What I got on my workbench today is getting back on Shin's base here. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm not doing anything crazy, but so far I think it looks good. I could always add more material to it, but that's what I got going on my bench today. When I get started painting on the stones here, I'll film all that. So I'll go ahead and pause for now, because get started on the base, and I'll talk with everybody later. Alright everybody, another update on Shin Ultraman's base that I've been working on. I worked over the weekend. I still have a little bit more to do on the base, but overall the rocks, the grass and little stones and stuff that I put on the base so far looks pretty good. The main base that Shin stands on is just sitting in the, I took it out like a piece of puzzle. And it'll go right back in place. I have to paint the base. The colors that it's calling out on the instructions, it's kind of like just a few colors. This is gray here for some weird reason, but I'm going to add color to that. The road now, I might do something to that too, or just leave it gray. But overall, it's looking good. I just focused on the base this weekend. This is Monday, September 8th. And pretty happy how it turned out. It looks really good. And I'm going to go ahead and call this a wrap on the base for Shin Ultraman. This will be part 1. Once I'm happy with the base, which I'm kind of there, it's looking really good, I'll focus on the base that he came with and get that painted up. The little hut here, or house, it'll I'll take it off here because it's just sitting there. I'll have a little 3mm LED that will flicker, so the lights in the windows and the doors there will blink or flicker. That'll look pretty cool. But it turned out all right for the work that I did on the base, the extended part of the base, because this was my idea. The base that it came with is really, like you can see, it right here, it's just very small, and I wanted to do a little bit more, add a little bit more to it, and it turned out pretty good. So again, I want to call this a wrap of part 1 on Shin Ultraman's base. I'll continue working on this throughout the week, but I'll post this up on my YouTube channel either today or tomorrow. Everybody be safe out there, and I'll talk with everybody later.